has no understanding of what keyboards are. I could not explain it to them. And also, when we talk about optimal table, they have no understanding or they could not care or condition. I think it's very clear. We just take I don't listen to the leadership from Qiextqpm and other leaders all over Ontario. What I heard was that the bill goes forward as is. We are, I don't know. There will be, closures, blockages of mines. That's what I'm understanding. And that's the direction. That's what I didn't know was about. That's how it says. That's the only way to listen. And right now they're not listening. We cannot just continue to, insert things in the preamble to make it right. That's not how, relationship work. That's not nation to nation. That's backwards, way backwards. We're going back, into the 1970s on how we started talking about this. So I'm going to give some time to, if you have any questions, to the leadership. They have issues.
And Saul, just turn to us for please, Saul.
That's that type of comment from a premier and a person that does not understand First Nations. And we've said before, we just have to work with it. And it's important that we need to, again, follow that path towards working with First Nations, whether it's the rights holders, make sure that they are at the table, not the menu of this issue. And I think that's very good.
Martin, aside from the indigenous communities, it still gives ministers the ability to decide which species are endangered in Ontario. Does that make sense, or should that be up to the science community?
Well, obviously it makes sense, and this government wants to protect our it's just business as usual. But the truth is that we have made these sort of changes over time to ensure that scientists and human rights movements have had a say in some of these issues. This government wants to basically ride right up to existing legislation that people have fought for years. We're going to make mistakes, and we're told it again and again. We'll do it right the first time. And instead, as Saul mentioned, we're going to just find an adequate go back to the ones that do it right the first time. We're going to end up in the courts, and we're going to end up playing on the Right, so look, first of all, as I said the other day, I am absolutely believe that the Conservative Party need to take back the people of Ontario. Your own campaign director has said you called out fire hose that been used to win the election. That's $1 million in taxpayer money. People of Ontario pay for those ads that did nothing but promote this party and this government heading into an election. The Conservative Party needs to repay, pay back the money for those ads. 100% of that's what we're going to look to do. And then, of course, the other thing we're going to do is we're going to retable the legislation, which I will remind everybody is exactly the same legislation that the Conservatives tabled when they were in opposition, and it was the Liberals that had changed the laws to make it easier to use taxpayer dollars for this kind of partisan advertising. So we are going to retable that legislation, and we're going to get the government to say, hey, look, it's good enough before, it should be good enough today, let's vote together, let's tighten up those laws.
Is it realistic, though, that they will have to give back the money when it's clear that this vote can't be?
I think at the end of the day, it's about what's doing the right thing. They have their own campaign director admitting that this is a tool they used in order to win the last election. $40 million. Ontario taxpayers way too many partisan ads that had no other purpose than promoting that government and that party. The campaign director himself has been very clear that was the intention.
The Premier said today, or the only people opposed to Bill 5 are left-wing radical environmentalists.
On camera, Saul.
How do you feel about that?
I know we are not that quick. And I think the chief of one of the branch people there answered that question earlier. Even left, radical environmentalists. I think I'm going to look at Chief Fiddler. But anyway, I think it's important, like one of the things that he said was that, we are not left-wing environmentalists. I think he should say that he's the chief colonizer. That's what he is. When you make those type of comments, that's what he is.
The Premier said the only people he thinks are opposed to Bill 5 are left-wing radical environmentalists. How do you think
That's idiotic. That's an idiotic thing to say, and it's so irresponsible. We came here. We were here last week. I was here 2 weeks ago. I was here again last week. I'm here again today to convey the position that our leadership have expressed. They were here last week. They gathered here, all 49 chiefs in the Nan Territory. The Nan Territory covers 2/3 of the province of Ontario. And they didn't ask for amendments to this bill. They said rejected this bill.
I think it feels that way.
Well, we've given him opportunities to work with us. When I was here 2 weeks ago, I sent them a handwritten invitation for assembly to go to the council for us for the week. And he just chose to work. He didn't show up. All of a sudden, I'm getting text messages from Brickford this morning wanting to talk. And again, that's not acceptable. That's not how we should be doing things.
You planning to block roads, block lines here?
Well, I think that's the message that our people and I quoted one of the young people's words.
What specifically?
Grand Chief, you take a look at the cameras. Thank you, Grand
What are
Chief.
you planning to do to oppose this on the ground?
It's anything and everything that will make this government listen to us.
Such as?
Like I said, it's anything and everything. And when I was here last week, I talked about 15, 16 years ago when one of our chiefs of Qiextqpm number 9, along with his council, were put in jail for 2 months. And if this bill, in its current form, goes through, that is where we're heading. There will be conflict on the ground, and those that oppose it will most likely end up in jail.
What did Mr. Rickford want to talk to you about?
I don't know.
Basically, there's a cost to pushing this bill.
Yeah, it all sorts of ways. It's talking about 20%, but the cost for our committees and the cost for here, we are not looking for concerned about what it means for them. It's not so much for me. I'm just 60 myself. But what does this mean for kids? And the price that they will have to pay.
We repeatedly heard from the Premier saying that he feels, that all First Nations are going to be on side once they see economically what this means for
Again, that's an idiotic thing to say. Like, how can we delete them when we haven't even heard from them? It's unreal.
But does the Premier have a point, though, that in effect there's a lot of infrastructure in Europe that is lacking, that a lot of people are still and there's bring investment in infrastructure and luxury and seasonal roads, cheaper food. That's the argument of the Premier. Why is that not the right argument?
I agree with you on that. But it's the how. And that's what I want you to understand. It's the how. There's freedom. The way they're doing it right now, with their efforts to push this through, and you heard that from our leadership, it's working. It's the how. We agree that all our communities need clean, safe drinking water, including my community. That's about that. We've been on that list since 2004. We need good quality housing. We need good energy, reliable energy. We need good airports. We need all seasonal help for those communities that want it. We need all these things, but it's the how.
So are you looking for the government then to just rescind the bill completely, or is if they put the trusted proponents and the specific regions in the legislation, would that be more than just
Well, I
the
think
other communities?
where we are,
It's bad faith.
That is what their job is to consult with us. There's 133 communities in Ontario, and they need to begin that consultation process, or else this is not going to go forward. And when we put our, what's going to happen, if it doesn't go forward, we will take legal routes, we will get on the ground, and that's what's going to happen until he begins to sit down with actual rights holders and start this conversation.
The fact that the Premier and his ministers are using infrastructure and creating safer nations in affected areas is really all we're doing is using their neglect of these nations for the past 150 years as somehow leverage to open the doors for economic benefit for the province. These things should have been done a long time ago, regardless of any opportunities. But yet, this government seems to think that the resources in Ontario are owned by Ontario, and that treaty, we heard Mr. Lecce and Mr. Rickford stumble with the simple questions that MPP Namaquai asked, and that is, what does treaty mean to you? What does Aboriginal title to lands mean to you? They had no answer. All they could deflect to was Section 35, which Section 35 is an empty box. All it says is that we have rights. So they're using that, which was only amended in 1982, and they're not talking about the treaties that were the foundation of this country. And instead, they keep deflecting to the Canadian Constitution. We did not get our rights from the Canadian Constitution. Our relationship began with the treaty-making process, not the Constitution of Canada. We predate the Canadian Constitution, and they have obligations under their own law to consult with us and to make sure that they have free, prior, and informed consent made to us before moving this. The fact that they created the bill and now are talking about consultations afterwards is putting the cart in front of the horse. And so they have to rescind the bill. They have to get back to the First Nation leaders in Ontario and start this whole process over again. Scott